Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And Golly, and Rains, and a goal! And they have done it! Oh, and driven in! And number 11, Matthew Hanlon, followed that in. Wilson will strike it! And it's gone all the way through! Oh, there you go! Not the cleanest of contacts, but Louis John scores for a third game running. And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. But the whistle goes now. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Sutton United Talk Time podcast. It's the Sunday service. Joining me today is a welcome back to Mark. Hi Mark, how are you?
Hello.
Good. And joining us for the first time, so he's going to get the full "Who Are You" treatment, is Paul. Hello Paul, how are you? Well, you're not going to get the full treatment because I haven't got the sound clip anymore, but how are you, Paul? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm good, Mike. Thanks for inviting me on. So Sutton United, where do I start from that? So I guess my first experience of Sutton United was actually with Carshawn Athletic. So sorry about that. I grew up about 100 yards away from the War Memorial Ground. So very young, I'd sneak in through the terraces and through the railings and go and watch the games. But I do remember some of the big derby games, and when there was 1,000 there, 1,500 there, maybe something like that. But West Ham fan growing up, and the crazy gang years as well. Wimbledon were close by, weren't they? So I watched a lot of that. But I guess my early experiences of Sutton United were playing there. So I played for Banston Athletic, youth team, reserves, first team. Obviously, the first team got nowhere near Sutton, but the youth and reserves did. So my main memories of Gandey Green Lane in that time are just like that freezing Januaries, getting spanked 8-0, a waterlogged pitch on that clay. And then and those horrible changing rooms. And I always remember when the Arsenal came round, they were talking about the changing rooms being dismal for the Premier League team. Well, they're pretty dismal for a suburban league visitor. So, but they were time. But I went occasionally. So I did go to I went to the Coventry game, I went to the Norwich game, and a few other games and stuff like that. So, but the hook this time round really is my son. So he's got into football. He wanted to go to a game, and I said, well, to earn your Premier League stripes, you're going to come with me and watch some non-league football. So we headed down Gandey Green Lane, 2017, Boreham Wood, 1-1, and he was absolutely hooked. And they were doing some cracking deals on season tickets and things like that. And so here we all are. So we've been watching it for about 4 years. And so our big games have been the Aldershot playoff clincher, the game against Boreham Wood, Hartlepool League title game. So very different to a lot of the people who you've had on, of course, to go way back. So we did our first away games this year as well, Orient, Crawley, and we went to Bristol as well. So, so here we are.
Excellent. Well, you never actually paid any money to Carshawn if you snuck through the railing, so that's all right. Yeah, it's fine. We're all right with that. Some big, massive games there, as you were saying, and totally different. It is nice to get different people coming on at different points of career, because, as I've said many times, I seem to know a few people for a good many years. And I did my media whoring the other day, and when I was listening to Paul and Jenny and someone else, can't remember who else, I was like, we could almost take each person out of the interview and replace it with someone else, and the answers would be very, very similar. It's all like different things about the money from the Papa Johns, and we're all going, money.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear sort of different viewpoints. I'm going to just see if the other guest can be heard now. It's Dave from Salford. I know we're not going to be jumping to you yet, but can we hear you, Dave, or not yet?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Beautiful. We can do. So I'll leave it at the screen for the moment. I know this bit's going to be a little bit boring for you, but thank you for coming to us.
It's all interesting. By the way, I'm in Poplar.
Are you in Poplar? Oh, nice. It's near us. Nearich.
I'm a Cockney Ammie.
So thinking mostly about Saturday. I did a little sort of one of these instant reaction things, which I'm not very good at. But just wanted to kind of touch on what were your feelings of the game, guys. So if I start with you, Mark, how did you kind of feel about the game in general?
I thought it was a good game, but yeah, most of them are at this level. The standard of football obviously is a bit higher than what we've been used to in non-league. I thought it could very easily have ended 3-3. Apart from the 2 goals, I mean, I think the frame of the goal was struck 3 times.
I
think it was 3 times. There was a shot cleared off the line. There were some great saves, both keepers. So although there were only the 2 goals, it was an incident-packed match. We might want to talk about the referee. I thought he had a somewhat eccentric game. I think Bristol Rovers would probably think a draw was a fair result. They're obviously relieved to get that penalty equaliser late on, but we could very easily have won it in those 6 minutes of stoppage time. I'm not quite sure where they came from, but we had some good chances right at the death there to win the game. So a bit disappointing not to take the 3 points, but the 1 point moves us back up into 3rd place. So I don't think many of us are complaining about that. But overall, I thought it was an entertaining game.
Mm-hmm. And Paul, what about yourself?
Yeah, similar to Mark, of course. Yeah, I mean, as a day out at the football, I thought it was hugely enjoyable. Plenty of chances, some good footy, good atmosphere, to jump up and down about. Rosie's chips were as good as ever. As a Sutton fan, came away from the Stevenage game thinking it was a point game. This was the one where you thought it was 2 dropped, really, didn't you? And I think that was probably influenced by that last 10 minutes or 5 minutes plus injury. 1-0 up, gave away a silly pen, and then 4 good chances at the end. So I thought we always looked dangerous. I thought they had a lot of possession, but not a huge amount of cutting edge. We got knowledge they hit the woodwork twice, of course, and Bersernis made a couple of good saves. So, but I mean, they've been on a heck of a tear, haven't they? They had 4 wins and a draw before they came to us. They brought in some good January players. So 1-1, probably a good result. It was good that I thought it was good that we made a decent account of ourselves. I say I went to the cup game in Bristol and it was difficult conditions. We didn't play well. The Rovers forums were full of banging on about us being long ball hoofers and in a false position, which I thought was really harsh. And a quick look on the Rovers forums today, it's more positive. It's like, obviously we're direct and tough, but we're a good side, and they thought we'd be in the mix at the end of the season. So I think we gave a better account of ourselves anyway. And but as a game overall, good entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts were very similar to the whole. We should have won that. We should have taken the 3 points, and then sort of walking a bit further along. It's like, and I think Nick actually said it. We're disappointed and we're frustrated at drawing with Bristol Rovers. With Sutton, and we're disappointed that we shouldn't. Right, hang on a minute. Let's get a little bit of perspective back into this. As you guys have said, there was lots and lots of chances. I do love the long ball hoofers because it does make me laugh that if that's all we've got, then it's very easy to stop. It's a simple tactic to stop if that's all we've got. So we wouldn't be where we were if that's all we had. It sometimes is all we need because you can't stop it. The ref, he had quite a lot of comments. So I had a couple of people, I think it was Simon on Facebook, who said that Madley just wanted to be the centre of attention. There was another one who wanted to stay anonymous, who was, I'm still feeling we're badly treated by the officials. It felt so often in the 96 minutes we were playing against 12. I'm biased, but every time an opposition player dropped to the ground through contact or not, the ref blew in their favour. And quite often our players were jumped on from behind or pulled back by blatant shirt pulling, and we got nothing. End of rant. Then there was Christoph, who thought that diving was a Summer Olympics. Ken from Texas said it was brutal. Then there was a Bristol Rovers fan who said, very similar to yourself there, Paul, it was 2 sides showing how hard they are to beat. The chances from open play were always going to be scarce, set pieces vital, and we shouldn't be shocked if both teams finished in the top 7. So as you were saying there, little sort of credit, suddenly we're not little old Sutton anymore, we're deserving to be there. The chat is open on YouTube if anyone is following it there. I will try and remember to check it and read out any other comments if you've got them, but that's all fairly new to me. So what did you make of the ref then? Shall we start with the difficult? It's not, again, blaming the ref because it was a nailed-on penalty from my point. You said you watched from the curve, Paul, and Mark, were you on the curve this week?
I was behind the goal, obviously at the Gander Green Lane end.
Right. So I thought it was a nailed-on pen. There was no dispute.
Yeah, it was some indecision there, wasn't there, between the two of them, and I think Dino definitely clipped him, didn't he? That's all. But from where I was standing, it looked like it was okay.
I think as soon as Dino went for that ball, I thought, he's not going to reach that. And I think he did make some contact with the ball, but as Paul said, he clipped their player as well. So the player could have stayed on his feet, but he elected to go down. Well, you would, wouldn't you? So once he'd gone down, the ref had no choice but to award the penalty.
I have to say, I thought there was quite a few of our players sort of jumping up to the ref and the linesman saying, he didn't touch him. And I thought, you know what? That's kind of made the ref's decision quite easy because you wouldn't be saying that unless you were sure he'd touched them.
More out of frustration, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was more along the lines of, if you hear it, is what was that for? Not he didn't touch him because that's obvious. What was that for? But it was nailed on. It's disappointing, but I think even Matt said in his post-match that a draw was probably the fairer result overall. And what else was there in the game that was quite fun? Obviously, we had the tenner in the bank chant again. Are you enjoying that one? I'm quite enjoying it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's always it's a nice one, new one to the collection, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
To be fair, I quite enjoyed hearing "Goodnight Irene" from the Rovers. I think that's quite one of the top chants in the league. So it's always quite nice. Obviously, you don't want to hear it when the ball's hitting the back of the net, but there we go.
No. But so still on the game yesterday, I'm doing the player of the day ever so slightly different now. I'm going to take some nominations from you guys and stick them up as a poll. So who are your thoughts for the player of the day?
Shall I? Do you want me to go?
Go on, Paul.
Good. It was good to see Richie on the score sheet again, wasn't it? He was. I was starting to wonder about him, but the last couple of games, I think he's really shown his form. I mean, it helps that he's getting more than 10 minutes these days. But the Carlisle game was fantastic in that, wasn't he? And yesterday he was a real pain, wasn't he? He's a real wily old pro. He was turning his man. He did that. So in the first 5 minutes when Isaac had his shot that just went wide and things like that. So I think he's really coming into play. So I'd stick Richie in the frame, although he only had 60 minutes, of course. Probably faded a little at the end, but definitely. Rob Milsom, I thought, had a great game. It was a real. Can you put him forward as he was possibly at fault for the penalty? I thought he had a great game. And Dino put a couple of nice saves in, but difficult one I thought actually. Player of the game, but they would be my short list.
Yeah. Mark.
Yeah, I mean, Richie Bennett is obviously in my thoughts, but I thought he was man of the match up at Carlisle. And so I'm actually going to go for a different player. I'm going to go for Kenny Davis. I thought had a great game. Obviously, he only came into the side because Alistair Smith's not fit. Alistair was the player that Matt referred to in his pre-match interview. Didn't actually name at that stage, but obviously Alistair wasn't fit. But Kenny, as we know, can come in. He's an experienced player now. He's made the step up to league football quite effortlessly. And I thought we had a very good game in midfield. And also he got back and helped out the defence as well. Remember, right at the end, we were under a bit of pressure. They had a couple of corners. And remember, he cleared one corner directly from the near post. Got a lot of distance on it. Got a bit of a cheer from behind the goal for that. So I'm going to put Kenny in the frame.
Lovely. Well, I actually wrote down for mine, Richie, Kenny, and I did put Dino as well because, yes, the penalty, but there were a couple of great saves early on as well. So I'll put the four down as Richie, Kenny, Dino and Rob, and then we'll let everyone decide. There was, I know it was only half an hour, there was a shout even for Omar because he did put himself about quite a bit in that half an hour. I did say to someone, as Richie was doing his work in the first half, I said, I feel sorry for this defence because they're going to have Richie batter them for 60 minutes and then he'll come off and then have Omar to suddenly run at them for a little while. So
that ball he threaded through on the outside of his boot was lovely, wasn't it? No, really.
Absolutely. And we've been banging this drum all season, but basically what a time to support Sutton. You've got players coming off the bench that at no point does anyone ever sit there going, "Oh, for God's sake, it's so and so coming on." You don't feel the side's been weakened by someone coming on from the bench or whoever starts. It's just absolutely amazing. I know Toby was not getting so many chances and he's kind of been sold, but every time he's played, even you still wouldn't have said, "Oh, I wish so and so was playing," because he's done all he can. So what a time to support Sutton, and management is just amazing. The recruitment, as they've banged on, is absolutely spot on. I
haven't seen the replay of Omar's shot that hit the post. Was it an opportunity missed, or was it just bad luck? I haven't seen it.
Both. I think it hit literally the it sounds silly saying this. I think the face of the post, it kind of a millimetre or two the other way. That would have just clipped the post and gone in. But it didn't.
It was a bit of a snapshot, wasn't it? But I mean, the defence did open up for him just fractionally there, and he had the opportunity and took it. And unfortunately, as they say, hit the post rather than going in.
But we're now with late goals because, again, people were leaving on 82, 83 minutes. I don't understand it, but I've done my little spreadsheet. We're now on all goals conceded after 85 minutes. We're on -1 point. I've included the Cardiff game. I know that's not quite the same thing, but I've included Cardiff. But yeah, minus 1 point we're on. So it's almost evened itself out. Last week we were ahead. This week we're behind.
Some of those
who knows?
Been early in the season, wouldn't they? I would have thought.
A lot of them were early in the season, and you've got the Oldham game where we conceded 2 in the last few minutes. But this could all change, and it brings us nicely on to Tuesday's night, where we're playing Salford. And this is where we'll say hello to Dave. Hello, Dave. How are you?
Good afternoon, chaps.
Hi, Dave.
And so, did you travel up yesterday, or?
No, I live in Poplar.
Okay.
I'm a Cockney Ammie.
So, you didn't get stuff by the late call off yesterday. I know a lot of people were quite upset from Port Vale. But...
Well, yeah, but the problem with our ground is it's on the last fringes of the Pennines. It's not called Moor Lane for nothing. There's a moor across the road. So all the water from the Pennines just flows down. It's actually a lot better than last season's first game we've had called off. Rochdale's game was off as well, so it happens.
Yeah, no, it does happen. I mean, I think it was actually the referee in the end that called it.
It was
the ref, not the ground staff. So it was a bit harsh. And I know Mr. Neville takes these things very seriously, and he's paying for return coaches and all sorts of other things. But obviously, you've always got 1 or 2 people that doesn't quite fit. And they want more.
What was somebody who's got a reason to hate Salford City? Trust me.
No, it's every club. Don't worry. But how's the season gone for you compared to expectations? How?
Well, last season we had 4 managers, so we knew that Gary Bowyer was not going to get sacked this season, no matter what he did. Once again, they brought a whole slew of players in. Every season they start with a whole new set of players, and I was thinking we give them 6 out of 10. We're like a badly tuned car. We should be doing better. The players we've got, we should be doing a lot better. We've got a lot of players with experience of League One and above, and when they're on it, and when they're not, they're not. Here is the killer stat: we've never won from going behind in all our league history. 3 seasons, never won from going behind. So if you go ahead, you've got to score. We just know it. It's a fact. It shows. I was asked by chap on Twitter, Gabriel Sutton. He asked me how we doing and what did we need to go up to get in the promotion. I said a couple of brain transplants and a couple of heart transplants, because the players have got the ability, but it like a badly tuned car. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we signed 4 players in the window, and they all look good. And if they all bed in and they all click, we may sneak into the playoffs. It's going to take a hell of a run of events, really, because we've got you lot on Tuesday. We've got our Bet Noir Lake Noir away on Saturday, so we could have a Cockney double, and we'll be swagger again. But here's another fact: our crowds have gone down by 50% this season.
Wow!
Exactly. Well, I mean, there was the first season where everybody wants to go to a new ground.
Yeah.
Before COVID, we had a lot of tourists who wanted to see Manchester United light. And it doesn't take many of them to boost the crowd. But and we're moving next season to a new ground, and a lot of people don't want to move. There's no parking now at the ground at all. So all these reasons, it's become a little bit toxic, really. So
how long have you been supporting yourself?
Well, I remember watching them in the 60s when they were a park team. But I'm mainly a rugby league man. And until the class of 92 came along, I didn't even know who the class of 92 were. But my brother-in-law was on the committee for years. My sister's house is on Moor Lane. So, whenever I was up, I used to watch them.
Yeah.
So I always used to say, who do you support? And I'd say Salford City. And they'd just look at me blankly and say, what's that?
Yeah, we had that for a long time as well, didn't we, Mark?
Well, yeah, so I wasn't a fan before 2014, really, in terms of actually going and watching. I bought a raffle ticket. When I was up there to visit, I'd go and watch a game. But, I mean, they had 75 fans in those days. Yeah. So, we've come a long way. And we've just gone past the stage now of pinching ourselves that we're in the Football League. You're in that wonderful period when you can do that. Now we've been here 2.5 years and we should be doing better with the resources we've got.
Which 2.5 years before we can stop pinching ourselves.
And we've had COVID. When COVID started, we were looking that we might make the playoffs. We missed out on Wembley. We missed out on the trip to Everton. So, we feel a little bit hard done by COVID, to be fair.
Yeah.
But having said that, I think we've got a good chance on Tuesday, given that you play Saturday. And we'll be going for it. But this team, we were playing Colchester at home, third from the bottom. We thought, oh, great, 3 points. Didn't show up. So, but our away form's pretty good. No, having said that, a fortnight ago we were at Northampton, didn't turn up and lost 1-0. But we got a good defence. It's whether these new kids will click. The guy to watch is Ashley Hunter, who seems to have found his mojo. And when he's got his mojo, he fights and he gets the whole team going. He's got a good cross on him, and he's got a good attitude. But I see you were done by all the Bristol tricks. Throwing himself to the ground. I mean, they were a good passing side.
Yeah.
We got 2 players sent off to do all their tricks, and we scored at the last minute and got an equaliser. We felt as though we'd won it. But yeah, it's a tough old league, and you seem to have got the trick. So I'm in awe of Sutton at the moment.
Well, there was actually a couple of things I just wanted to jump in on there. So your description of your players and your team about. They've got the ability, they've all been doing it at League One, but do they have the heart? Would you guys agree that we seem to have the opposite? We've got players all from lower league that you question whether they've got the ability, or you would have questioned if they had the ability. But the one thing you wouldn't have been able to question is whether they had the heart. What do you think? Would I be right there, Mark?
I think they've got both, yeah. I mean, you've got to bear in mind that the top end of the National League these days is pretty close to the standard in League Two. So if you win the National League, as we did, of course, then if you keep the same squad, you're probably going to do okay in League Two. We've actually exceeded expectations, but a lot of the players, as you say, Mike, that we had last season still with us, had most of their careers in non-league, but they've shown they can take the step up. I've mentioned Kenny Davis, Joe Kizzy, who was playing in the Essex League a few seasons ago. He's slotted in, to that level of football. There are others I could mention, and as a team, we certainly don't look out of place at all in League Two.
No, and one of your players, Thomas Asante, I think we had him with us, didn't we?
We did. He scored a fantastic volley for us in a trophy tie at Bromley in December 2018. I think that may have been his only goal for us. I'm happy to be corrected on that, but he wasn't with us very long. He was on loan, I think, from MK Dons at the time.
Yeah.
He was only with us for a month or two, but he did score that. Unfortunately, we didn't win that game. But that was the game that Bromley won. But then they were then thrown out of the competition for fielding a player who wasn't eligible. So we got reinstated into the competition. Then lost more in the next round. Remember that?
I do remember that. I do remember that. And bizarrely, Spennymoor fans still love us because there's a whole London contingent. I think they're always tweeting about Sutton. I do remember that now. So you've got Leighton Orient, who's got another one of our ex-strikers. Paul, do you remember Aaron?
Yes, I do remember the name. Yeah. He didn't play too.
Fire. He didn't do very well. No, he's absolutely on fire. Don't know what we do to strikers here, but yeah, so it's battle of two Sutton strikers on Saturday. So how do you guys feel the game could go? Dave's already said he feels depending on who turns up.
It was useful, it was useful insight from Dave there, wasn't it? I'm just looking at their form guide. I think it's 1 draw, 1 or 1 loss, 1 loss, 1 loss, like that. So, which Salford turn up really, and also in that whole piece around, their turnover of players is extraordinary, isn't it? And the players they get in, and how this is this our first experience of a January window, isn't it? And I was a bit nervous that all these sides are going to bring in loads of players. Yeah. And we might feel the heat on that, but actually, there's these players have got to gel as well, haven't they? And I think the games that we've seen, the games we've played where players have come in, they haven't changed the world at all. And so there is something there about how they gel as a team and going forward. So, but I mean, you can't ignore some of the names, can you? The Man City wingers in and Millwall's Matt Smith and things like that. They're like. They're big teams they're getting these players from, but from the documentaries the documentary that I've seen, the one thing you get out of it is that it's just that whole turnover and that obsession with winning, and you think, well, the obsession with the result, there's got to be something underneath that rather than just throwing players at it. So, but it'll be interesting to see whoever turns up, really. But I
mean, good point on the transfer window there, because that's one of the things on a quite a nervy January, obviously, to be honest with you, thinking we're going to lose some people. And then you're seeing other clubs just huge amount of players. The one team that seems to have gelled quite well, actually, is, I'm sorry to say, Dave Colchester, where they've suddenly gelled. We've played them both times anyway, so actually, let them crack on now and beat everyone else. They'll take points from everyone else for us. But it is something that I was just like, everyone seems to have hopefully strengthened from their perspective, hopefully weakened from ours. Is that something that normally happens, Dave? That everyone sort of brings in loads? Well,
the good teams don't in general. They may just bring in one player for to back up the. I don't think Forest Green have brought in many players. But I mean, some teams like Crawley, if there's someone going, off contract, let's have him to juice it up a bit. If you haven't got any money and things are not going quite well, bring in some different players. It might not work, but there's nothing to lose really, because you're losing some players off contracts and you bring some players in. It's a bit of a merry-go-round, and the teams at the bottom are desperate for any sort of new blood to try and get them going. And if you've got money, why not? If you've got a chance of getting somewhere. And of course, we've got the Bolton precedent last year where they were in the bottom 4, wasn't it? And in February, and went all the way. So why not?
Okay, fair enough. I didn't.
Not going to happen again, I don't think.
I feel all right with. Sorry to say, Oldham. I don't think that's going to happen. No. But Mark, what do you think? What are your thoughts ahead of Tuesday?
I think it's perhaps worth mentioning that Salford did play an important part in our history, because we got our first point in the Football League up at Salford back in August, 0-0 draw. Of course, the fixtures were flipped because our pitch wasn't ready, originally due to be at home against them last August. And of course, they're now coming down to us this coming Tuesday. I think it'll be a tight game, as the game up at Salford was. I have a feeling we're going to sneak it. I think our players will be disappointed not to have won yesterday. And I think that might give them an extra incentive to go to get the 3 points on Tuesday. My feeling it's going to be something like 2-1 to Sutton.
Thank you, Mark. Paul, I didn't ask you your prediction of your score.
Oh, yeah. Oh, tricky one. I think I'm going to go for I think I'll go 1-1. I think I take Mark's bump from the game, but I wonder whether there might be some tired legs.
Lovely. Dave, give us a prediction.
I'd say 1-1. What can I ask about the pitch? How's it bedded in?
Yes, good.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Yeah. I mean, on that, sorry, I meant to say this to you earlier, Mark. Sorry, Paul, what you said about the forum, the Bristol Rovers forum, there was some bizarre comment from someone.
They were moaning about the pitch, weren't they? I thought, you're kidding me. That pitch is, I mean, it's unbelievable the way it's bedded in.
He watched it on the highlights. So he saw like the 2-minute clip of the highlights and he started saying that the pitch plays like an AstroTurf pitch. It's like, what?
Couldn't see where that was coming from.
I don't even know what an AstroTurf pitch plays like. I mean, it's...
No, the way that knitted it, fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, there's got to be something. The clubs that think they're bigger clubs, and I'm sure you've had it with Salford. If you beat them, there's got to be something. For you guys, it's always going to be the money.
Yes.
You've got money, so that's why you beat them. For us, it's with big brutes and terrible. But obviously, a Joey Barton side couldn't say that we're bullies, so they'd have to have something else. But no, the pitch, they've done brilliantly on the pitch. In fairness, you guys played us on the magic plastic pitch as well.
Oh, I was there. I remember it.
Yeah, it's not magic. It's just it gets to be used more often. That's the only advantage to it.
Who'd have thought on that game that we'd both be playing in the Football League? Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
Not us. I can tell you that much. No, none of us. I think we've established for most people it was at the point we were 2-0 up against Hartlepool that we realised, oh shit, we're going to be a Football League club. Because when you said about COVID taking away from you guys, from us, we got to see a maximum of 3 games last year of the best ever season in our entire history. But luckily we were able to be there for that final important game. We
went a whole year without seeing a game.
Yeah.
This happens. It's nobody's fault, is it? No.
No. But yeah, we did get lucky to see that Hartlepool match, which has been spoken about bizarrely quite a bit the last few days. I don't know why it keeps coming up, but it's really good. I'm going to, I don't know. I'm going to go for a complete different goal fest. I want to go 3-2 Sutton. Just because I'm going to say something to win, but I want to see a few goals now. So I'm going to wrap up there, gents. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
It's been lovely to chat to you. We'll definitely try and get some of you guys back on again. Paul, you're on my list now, I'm afraid, so you'll get the email. You have to block my email address. Don't forget, everyone, you can catch up on all the socials at Sutton Podcast. If anyone could follow YouTube channel, the link is out there somewhere, but the more people that follow it, the more chance I've got of getting a proper link on there, so I can use the actual name. But if you could just subscribe and I can get that sorted. Give us a shout on any of the socials, as I said. Anything you want to say, drop me an email. It's mike@suttonpodcast.com or suttonpodcast@gmail.com. And I will see a load of you on Tuesday. And the next one I've got is Wednesday. And bye-bye. Take care.
Yeah.
Cheers, Mike. Bye.
Tuesday. Bye.
Have a good Tuesday.
United!